get a chair if you want, dear. All right. All right, welcome to the Conductivity Lab. And we are going to test a few things. We're just going to do a quick test. So make sure you got on Google Classroom and saw how to set up your notebook to do this. So we're going to see about between, as we look at how do covalent and ionic bonds kind of differ when we talk about conductivity. So conductivity is that being able to conduct electricity. So we have here what we like to call, this is a conductivity tester here. And so when we turn it on and we put it in something, this red light will light up, and it'll either be very, very bright for high conductivity, or it'll be really low, dim for low conductivity. So we're going to see how these different things do. And if it doesn't light up at all, it has no conductivity. Okay. So the first things we're going to do is we're going to test sugar and salt as a just solid. And so notice it has a battery, it's connected in, and then it has these two prongs. These two prongs, when it conducts electricity, close their circuit and then light up our light. And Josie's here to help me. All right, Josie, are you ready? Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to do sugar first. So you want to hold this in the sugar. I'm going to hold this up to the camera, and she's going to kind of put it in there, and you're going to see, does it light up? And notice you have no light. So this has absolutely no conductivity. And this is, and I'll show you what it is. Okay, take it out. This is just solid sugar. Okay, so sugar is a covalent bond, and so it does not conduct electricity as a solid. Okay, how about salt? So, you ready to test the salt, Jose? Yeah. Okay, so let's take both prongs, make sure both prongs are in the salt. So this is just solid salt. And again, we have no conductivity as a solid, even with an ionic bond known as salt. All right, I'm going to have send Josie over to the sink. Can you go squirt this off for me? Just squirt the prongs, don't get the battery or anything. She's just going to squirt that off with distilled water just to kind of clean it, just so that it doesn't have any contamination back to as we test the other things. So, thank you, Josie. The next things we're going to test are going to be our solutions, okay? And so I'm just going to look at my list, make sure I go in the right order. So the first thing we're going to do is tap water. So tap water is not pure water, of course. It does have ions in it. It has different salts and so forth in it. So we just have a thing of tap water. So I'm going to just, it has little bubbles. I'm going to have Josie, I'm going to tip it, and Josie, you're just going to put that in there, just into the water to see what happens. Now notice that has a very bright light. So tap water actually has a very high conductivity. Okay, all right. And between each one, Josie's probably going to kill me, but she's got to get up and go rinse it between each one. So because we don't want to contaminate tap water as we go forward. So that was tap water. Now we're going to try, might as well leave the squirt bottle over there. Now we're going to use distilled water. So distilled water is boiled, and then most impurities or things that are not water are left behind. There are some, but most of it is gone. So this is distilled water, and so Josie's going to do that one. And so if you notice, it's dead. I don't know if it's dead. Let's see. It should be, yes, it's very dim. So I'm going to put it up to the camera. It's super dim, so you can kind of see it goes on and off. It's very, very dim. Do you see that, Josie? See how dim it is?
That's why it says it's dead.
It's not dead.
The light is dead.
Okay.
It's dying.
It's dim, and so that means it has a very low conductivity. And that's because there's not a lot of impurities in there. It's mostly water. If I had deionized water, all the ions are removed. You should see no conductivity at all. All right, Josie, go rinse that one.
Oh, great.
Yay.
Hey, I'll squirt you with the distilled water.
Okay, and then the next one is going to be sugar water, and then last we'll do salt water. So sugar water is dissolved covalent bonds in water, And so let's see what conductivity that has. Remember, our distilled water has a very low conductivity. Okay. And again, we're very dim. And that's because, guess what? Sugar dissolved doesn't make ions, and so it doesn't have anything conduct electricity. What is conducting electricity is those ions that are still in the distilled water. Okay. All right, so you're going to go rinse it one more time. And we're going to test our last one, salt water. So salt water has the ionic bond dissolved in it. Remember, when ionic bonds go into water, they actually separate. So the sodium and chlorine actually separate out. And let's see what happens to our conductivity then. It's super bright. It's very, very high. So salt water, okay, go ahead, take it out, turn it off. And salt water, go rinse it please, one last time, has an ionic bond. And so one of the properties you just saw with ionic bonds is they can conduct electricity when they're dissolved in water, but not when they're in a solid. So we just like to see how the different bonds actually show. And then also covalent bonds do not conduct electricity solid or in water. And the reason we tested distilled water is to show you that the reason it did happen is because of the distilled water, not because of the sugar. So now what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead, go back, make sure your whole data table is filled out, and then answer those last 3 questions there on the lab sheet in your notebook. All right, and hope you enjoyed it. Bye.